Hi, Bloody Recapped here. Today I'm going to explain a fantastic movie, The Dark Tower. Keep your eyes open and stay focused. The motion picture begins with a walk of cheerful, smiling children to tranquil music in a green meadow, as if it were the beginning of summer. The children are supervised by some rather strange wardens, one of them with a suspicious stitch on his skull, and the others look like madmen. Suddenly a siren sounds from the loudspeakers and red sensors go off on some of the children's bracelets, signaling that they should approach the huge citadel in the middle of their camp, which is on the rocks and, as we can see, not on the earth. While a furry creature in a metal mask adjusts the equipment and another fixes the falling off skin. The children are hooked up to chairs and use their powers to launch an energy beam that chops off part of the tower with a direct hit. The city begins to cover the sky in a bloody evil color, and a flying creature jumps right at us, causing the boy to wake up in an earthquake. After creating a mess in the room, the earthquake ends and Jake's mother walks into the room. He answers that everything is fine, and she calls him in for breakfast. As he gets out of bed, he puts down a photo of him and his father together, drawing memories from dreams at the table. At breakfast, a neighbor walks in and asks if everything is okay. Jake answers that everything is cool and he leaves, and his mother asks Jake to remember to stop by his psychiatrist today. The wall in Jake's room is covered with drawings from past dreams. At school, one of the bullies takes Jake's notebook and drawings, which is immediately punished by a punch in the face from Jake, and the teacher decides to send Jake home to cool off. Jake goes to a psychologist, where he again tells the professional that he dreams about a tower, a man in black, and creatures with fake skin, and Jake claims that all these earthquakes are connected to the tower being attacked, and the psychologist again thinks Jake is mentally ill and moves on to the topic of losing his father and tells Jake that the nightmares are not real. He must let his father's death go. And then there is a mild earthquake. As Jake stands at a traffic light, he sees a man fixing skin just out of a dream, and a homeless man warns him of danger and tells him that they steal special children and take them to their world, saying that they need the power of his mind. On his way home, he notices a strange man watching him and nearly bumps into his neighbor, who suggests he go to the house together, where he hears his stepfather and mother quarrel about paying for a psychologist, and that the school has offered a trip to a retreat camp that helps children with a difficult period in life. Responding sarcastically, Jake retires to his room. When he goes to bed, he takes all the drawings off the wall with one request to himself: no visions tonight, one normal dream. The dream begins. Two gunmen stand back to back and speak special sentences to prevent the man in black from entering his mind, but one allows himself to enter the chambers of his mind and begins to suffocate. The man in black appears and calls the shooter Roland and says he can't handle his power yet, but the tower will fall anyway. He sees a house in his dream, which he starts looking online, but his stepfather walks in and says that people from school have come, but Jake sees that they are the same creatures from the dream. After taking his parents to his room and telling them about it, the stepfather says that Jake will go himself or he will steal him down the stairs, and leaves the room. And while Jake is talking to his mom, a text message comes on his computer with the address of the house from the dream. He tells his mom he's going, and he escapes through the bathroom window. In the chase, a school employee runs into an antenna, and we see hair on his neck instead of blood. He runs across the subway to the other side of the road and breaks away from the monsters. Jake finds the same house. The door is locked. He decides to climb in through the window by breaking out the boards. He finds the same inscription from the dream, and turning around he sees a metal wall in the next room, next to which he finds a control panel. He is greeted by an artificial intelligence asking him where to go. Entering the code, a portal opens. The artificial intelligence says that the road is in the middle world, one way. Jake is grabbed by something alive consisting of planks, and then released, and Jake quickly jumps into the portal. At the creature base, Jake learns that he went through a portal illegally in the old house, and the man in black asks to open a new portal for him. Walking through the desert, Jake notices smoke. He climbs a mountain and meets Roland there, where he tells him that the man in black is Walter and he is a sorcerer. Roland tells Jake that they will go to the village where the seers will read his visions. At this time, Walter in the real world goes to that house and finds a plaque with Jake's blood. Coming to the boss of the creature club, he orders him to find the boy, licking his blood, He tells him that the boy has the gift of foresight and only because of this he could defeat the guard of the house. Walter says this is the jackpot. The creature in female form says that the two lost the boy yesterday. Crossing the river, Jake wanted to taste the dead berries, but Roland stops him on the pretext that he doesn't want to drag him all the way unconscious. Jake lags behind Roland and stares at the old rides. He hears a strange sound, heads there and spots 3 supposed people. Immediately Roland grabs him and tells him to get down. We find out it's the Tahines. They work for Walter. Having a lovely evening, or rather dinner in the scary woods, Jake starts a conversation about how there used to be an amusement park here, and Roland replies that it was left over after civilization died and no one knows what they were for. Jake saw him fight and that the whole field was strewn with bodies. Roland replies that there was a decisive battle and that he lost his father that day. In the real world, Walter decides to invite the very same camp counselors who failed to capture the boy to a business meeting. They claim it's not their fault because he knew who they really are. They promise to do anything. But Walter interrupts them and asks for name and address. They give him the documents, and after taking over the Tahines' minds in the cafe, he orders them to kill each other, which they do right in the middle of dinner, and all the people just watch. Jake draws a picture in the sand from the dream, saying he doesn't know what it is. Roland sits down closer to Jake and tells him that it is a map his father explained to him. The stick in the middle is a dark tower that protects the rays, the real world from the outside world, which is dark and crawling with demons. Walter has been attacking it for years. When the tower falls, he will rule the world, but a world full of monsters. Jake says he's seen it all and they can deal with it together. But Roland interrupts him and says there is no we. Roland's only goal is to find and kill Walter. At the camp on the mountain, he reconnects the children to trigger an energy beam with their powers. Jake wakes up to the noise of the beam, because it sounds as if someone is screaming. Roland says that it is a shaking being strong and that the earthquake is happening in 2 worlds at once. In the middle of the night, Jake wakes up to hear his father calling and goes into the woods. And Roland has a nightmare where Walter right in his face says that everyone he cares about is dying. He notices that Jake is not around and goes after him. Jake sees his father and can't believe his eyes. His father asks him to come closer and take his hand, and as soon as he takes his father's hand, something appears, but the shooter saves him with a clip of well-aimed shots. Immediately Roland's father appears and calls him to him, but Roland does not fall for the trap and shoots his father, and the spell of the demons dissipates. Roland regrets to Jake, but it wasn't his father. He explains to Jake that such rips usually appear after an attack on a tower, and if the tower is broken, the whole world will be filled with these monsters. Suddenly Roland asks to be quiet. Someone is nearby, and as soon as he pulls out his gun, the monster ties him to a tree and Jake runs away through the amusement park. Roland cuts the tentacle, gets out and kills the monster chasing Jake. Jake's stepfather and his mother return home, but as they enter the house, they hear noises in the kitchen. It is Walter cooking chicken. He tells her that his stepfather called him here to get rid of Jake so his wife would love him more. She backs up saying it's the man from Jake's drawings. The stepfather says what the hell, and Walter tells him not to breathe and he falls down, and Jake's mom goes to show him the drawings. When he touches her, they see Jake's memories in his room and sheets of drawings begin to appear on the wall. He even sees the same shooter. He accuses her of not believing her son and trying to put him in an insane asylum. Roland and Jake continue to wander the world and come to a settlement. The settlement gathers in a semicircle, for they have not seen shooters for a very long time. Roland asks a seer to come out. A young girl who immediately recognized Walter in Jake's drawing comes out. Walter is told in his office that they have almost made a ray that can break the tower, to which Walter replies that there is a boy in the world who can do it alone. They decide to send trackers to find them. The healer helps Roland with his chest wound. The seer tells Jake that he has tremendous powers of radiance, that is, psychic powers. She begins to speak to him in his mind. She sees all his visions, and says that Walter is in the Deadlands. Roland asks to send him there, to which he is refused. And Jake realizes that if he went from New York to here, then his world has their base from where Roland can get straight to Walter. The seer agrees to send them to a key world. The preparation of the portal begins while everyone sits at the table. During dinner, one of the villagers bursts in and tells the leader of the tribe that the portal should only be opened in an emergency, to which the leader says that shooters are the law to obey. The villager asks the seer if the shooter is lying, and she tells him that he is not a shooter for a long time and he has a vein of hate and revenge against Walter that never goes away. Jake explains to the residents how he saved his life and that he is worthy of the title of gunslinger just as much as before. The villagers agree to help and prepare a portal, but the lights go out in the village. The generator is broken. It is the darkness that has attacked the village. Roland asks Jake to find a place to hide. Walter watches them through a surveillance balloon. He tells that his revolvers are made from the sword of the king who used his kind. Jake, sitting in the bushes, spots the girl and is about to help her escape, but one of the Tahines lands on the roof. Jake runs away with her. Roland sees Jake running through the window. He manages to load only one round and is attacked by Tahine. He massacres him. This time the tribal leader has repaired the generator and the power is working again. Roland sees Jake being grabbed. He stops in the middle of the village and starts listening and hears where Jake is screaming. He shoots there and kills Tahine with a direct hit to the head. They move to the key world. Walter is informed that they have gone to another world and escaped. He burns one Tahine's face as a public punishment and asks for coordinates. Upon arriving at the hospital, Roland is not happy with the fact that they want to keep him overnight and he leaves, giving the doctors a coin to mint on the bus. Jake gives him a painkiller and a Coke, which he is thrilled about. Jake gets the idea when he looks at the homeless woman. Walter comes to the village and makes the woman tell him where Roland and Jake went in a key world. Jake finds that homeless man. It turns out to be an ex-child who has lost his radiance. Jake climbs into his memories and sees the Dixie building where the portal is, and the homeless man recognizes the shooter. Jake goes home where he finds a charred silhouette on the floor. Walter killed his mother, and looking at the wall, the glow comes on. Roland says Walter was expecting this. They head to the gun store where they pick up some .45 caliber ammunition and are on their way out, when suddenly Walter appears behind them. Roland misses and the store closes the iron curtain, and a mob of Tahinians follows Jake. Jake is caught and asks Roland for help through his thoughts. Jake comes face to face with Walter, while Roland skirmishes with a bunch of Tahins. Jake is led away to a camp with a beam generator. Jake resists, but Walter brings him out emotionally by having him kill his mother. Jake holds the portal for Roland, but Walter comes out to Roland and starts a battle with him. On the brink of death, Roland ricochets off a bullet and into Walter's heart. The bullet's impact frees Jake, and after a hot dog lunch, Jake decides to go on an adventure with him. It's a mini happy ending. Support the channel by subscribing, like, and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.